Hello everyone, this is Pal Ponder on Weather coming at you with another video. In this update, we're going to be talking about a major pattern change as a very active subtropical jet starts after Thanksgiving. That will actually ride up the coast, allowing that high latitude blocking to take place to drag down the colder air as the PA goes positive, and we could be set for several snowstorms going into through the first part of December. So before I do get started, if you do like weather related content, please subscribe to my channel, as I will upload about 5 videos a week to keep you updated. And I do ask you to share this video with your friends and family on social media. All right, so we got a lot to talk about, so let's kind of delve into the details. Here we're looking at the overall teleconnections of the PA, which is the Pacific North American Oscillation, as well as the AO, which is the Arctic Oscillation. We've been in what they call a zonal pattern for much of November. The jet stream is only allowed to subtly drop every now and then for a day or two, allowing some of the colder air to reach the extreme northern portions of the U.S., but not too far south. But that is going to change in a big way as we go into and after Thanksgiving. So here's the PNA. It actually shows that it's going positive once we get past Thanksgiving, going into the first week or two of December. At the same time, we have the Arctic Oscillation, the AO, actually going negative, neutral to negative at the same time. So this will set the stage for a major pattern change that I do believe will set up several snowstorms for the east. So let's kind of get right to it. Here's the overall temperature pattern for November, and it's been very warm overall for much of the United States through the first 3 weeks of November, and I do think this continues. Like I said, there's been subtle hints where there are some snow showers into the extreme portions of Montana and Minnesota, but for the most part, overall temperatures have been well above average, and that looks to continue until after Thanksgiving. But after that, things start to change in a big way, and the main reason for that, we've been in a La Nina pattern. It started September the 10th, and it's been moderately, if not strong at times. And so what I found interesting is, as we kind of looking back the last 5 moderately La Ninas back in 1998, 1999, 2007, 2010, 2011, those 5 years actually showed a change in the pattern right around the early part of December of a very active subtropical jet forming in the face of a moderate La Nina. And that's what we actually have looking for, that's in store, that's on the table starting after Thanksgiving. We're talking like the 28th, 29th time frame going into the first several weeks of December. Here's the latest GFS 250 wind speed, the 200 millibar pattern. You can see a very active subtropical jet coming out of the Pacific. And this will actually set the stage for some severe weather down south as this kind of really gets cranking. And this would be the Friday and Saturday after Thanksgiving. So if we kind of move this along, what this is actually going to happen is will continue and actually deepen. And as this deepens, this will actually lift up the coast, up to the northeast. And I do think we'll have our first breakout of snowstorm around that time frame for the east. And this is in the upper levels, right around the first end of November, the first day or two of December. And as this continues, this will actually create the high latitude blocking that's needed as the PNA goes positive at the same time. And this will drag down the polar air down from the north and get involved in that active Pacific jet. And I do believe we'll have a snowstorm breaking out for, say, like the Ohio Valley, interior parts of the Northeast, getting into Pennsylvania, right around the end of November, the first day or two of December. If we actually expand the view, even take it a week out further, it even shows possibly a stronger system setting up around the 8th time frame. We still have a very active subtropical jet And this time, more polar air will get into the mix. And just look at this. I mean, look at this developing low off the East Coast. This would be a pretty fairly big event. And this is what's showing up in the upper levels, that we could have an even bigger snowstorm setting up for the Northeast as we get into the second week of December. Now let's take a look at the 500 millibar of the latest European. This is in the upper levels right now, so you really can't see a lot of this at the surface. This is what's going on in the upper levels of the 500 millibar and the cyclonic vorticity index. You can see by the 28, 29th time frame after Thanksgiving, we've got this very active subtropical jet setting the stage for above average precipitation for much of the south and the southeast. At the same time, we have another powerful jet to the north. And these, as we kind of take you through, these will actually kind of merge together. And this is right around that first time frame that we talk about in the upper levels. Look at this massive storm that's developing coming in, and this would drag down some very polar air from the north, and this would set the stage for possibly a major snowstorm for the Ohio Valley, getting into Pennsylvania and all up along the northeast. So that would be around the 30th and around the 1st, possibly into the 2nd time frame. Now, let's switch over to the latest GFS. I mean, the European only goes out to 240 hours. That's day 10. But this would be like around the 4th. You can see these little mini vorticities right here. This is a very active subtropical jet. This would be a little vorticity, and this would also be a little vorticity. So we got a very active subtropical jet. So this is around the 4th. And as we expand the view, as these two systems merge, look at this, setting up by around the 6th time frame. This would be a classic setup. This low would dig all the way down, even into Georgia, pulling in that polar air and wrapping up, taking advantage of that warm Atlantic Ocean. And this would set the stage for even possibly a bigger storm. So we could even see some snow, possibly even reaching down all the way down to the Carolinas. Even parts of Georgia it's not out of the question that we could see this with that low just digging all the way down to the southeast. And as this rides up the coast, this should have a pretty good snowstorm for a good chunk of, like say Kentucky, into Tennessee, into Pennsylvania, as we kind of ride up the coast into the northeast. And this would be right around, like say, the 8th time frame with that second snowstorm that's potentially on the table. And look at this, man. This would be a powerful storm setting up off the northeast. Of course, this is 2 weeks from now, but this is kind of just showing you what's going on and the upper levels of this dynamics and how this is going to kind of play out over the next 2 weeks. And that's why I do feel a major pattern change is on the table as we go into meteorologically winter for December the 1st. And if we take a look at the actual temperatures at the surface. Now, again, this is a model, and I was showing you what's happening to the upper levels. So it's only going to transcribe only so much this far out at the surface. But I do feel a lot of this would be even colder than what it's showing right now with what's going on in the upper levels. So this would be that first initial storm. So now we're talking anomalies anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees, if not colder, as that low deepens over the Ohio Valley, and this would lift north. At the same time, the P&A would go positive. So you're talking all this around the West Coast, you would be well above average temperatures as the colder air kind of gets trapped. You would have that high latitude blocking with the ridge up north, and as this cold air would get trapped, colder air would funnel into this and taking advantage of that active subtropical jet, and this would deepen off the coast, pulling in and wrapping around and then developing that snow, dumping into the interior regions of the Ohio Valley and into the northeast. So if we expand the view, looking into what the snowfall would look like, again, this is just at the surface, but this will take you out all the way through 240 hours. It's only going to see so much. So I do feel this is actually going to be a lot heavier than what the model's actually even showing right now, because it can only see so much 10 days out. But what's showing at the upper levels shows a pretty big event is going to unfold, right around that 30th, the first or second time frame for the northeast of the Ohio Valley, and eventually swinging up the coast, getting into the interior portions of the Northeast. And then if we take a look at the GFS model, kind of shows the same thing. Again, this model is only going to show so much, but this is as far as out it extends. And of course, this is at the surface, but I showed you what's happening at the upper levels. And so it's only going to see so much, this far out. But I do believe this would be all filled in from Minnesota to, Wisconsin into Michigan, into the Ohio Valley, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, possibly Kentucky, into West Virginia. Like I said, with that low dipping down, you could, it's not out of the question. You could get some snow showers all the way down into the southeast, into the northern parts of Georgia, into the Carolinas. And as this wraps up around Virginia into West Virginia, this would wrap up to, New Jersey, into the interior portions of the Northeast. And a lot of the snow would break out where I do think it's going to set the stage for the heaviest snow into the interior portions, say along Pennsylvania into New York. But again, we'll find too a lot of those details. But at the surface right now, it's showing two big events. And this would actually coincide with my winter outlook that I actually put out the end of September, and showed basically the interior portions of the Northeast was going to be. And a lot of this starts around December 1st. So talk about perfect timing for the winter outlook. A lot of this would be above average. So I am calling where you've already seen a lot of the snow. That's one of the few places actually even seen snow this year so far, has been well above average for the northern parts of the U.S. into Montana and into Minnesota. But again, above average for Washington, where they've already seen some snow, getting into Wyoming, for a good chunk of the Ohio Valley, for a good chunk of the northern northeast parts. And I do feel the heaviest activity will be inland, not by the coast, because you're going to have a little bit warmer water vapor temperatures that you're going to be having to deal with. So I do think you will get snow, but just not the heavier amounts that I do feel that's going to be pulled into the interior portions of the Northeast. So man, that is on the table for you guys for a major pattern change that I do feel is going to take place after Thanksgiving. So we're talking maybe around the 29th time frame, going in at least and through the second week of December, if not maybe even the following week after that. So I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video. Definitely leave your comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch me in the next video where I protect you before and after the storm.